Story number 3. Is the medical industry and people too reliant on drugs nowadays? This is an amazing story that surfaced in talking about the medical industry and how drugs are involved in now everyday, a lot of everyday routines. Athletes use drugs to heal themselves or to get healed. People use drugs for mental disorders. You got to think years ago. I think you take it back when things were just doctors were still treating patients with herbal supplements and different types of drugs. But the boom, I think, probably came around maybe the '60s when they just realized what this stuff was actually capable of doing. But now that it's introduced to the free world, it's kind of changed how people view the pharmaceutical industry and the drug market. Some people say you go to the doctors, you end up better off staying at home. Some people say the doctors are good. So there's kind of mixed opinions. But the reason why this story is interesting is because we've heard not only candidates but people actually in office, like we've heard Trump talking about getting cheaper medicine, cheaper drugs. And I talked about this last week on one of the stories that surfaced in about how sometimes going cheap is actually not that good because it just depends on what the if there's anything different in the chemical makeup or the chemistry of the pill that you're taking. So it's almost saying like pure cocaine is people who are adding things to it. The simple thing is that it's still cocaine and it still is not that good for the brain. But the advancements in drugs is why story number 3 surfaced in, because every time you go to the doctors now, they're not telling you. Sometimes they're not telling you to what not to do, but they're prescribing you drugs, and some of these drugs have a lot of side effects, and then people end up blaming the doctors when the doctor gave you something to read about the medication that you're on, and you did have that choice. So this is why story number 3 is so interesting, especially when you look at the how drugs and how the medical industry has changed over the years. Some doctors are not even accustomed or don't even like the changes that have been made when it comes to them prescribing so many drugs. Some stories that surface in is Trump team seems to be homing in on a law that could curb unneeded Medicare like CT scans and MRIs. So when you look at how the cost of medicine and the cost of just Medicare in general, getting care or health care is a better word I'm probably looking for. You look at the cost of it, it can kind of make you a little bit questionable about how you seek treatment and what coverage may be for you. So as we approach the 2020 election, it's getting closer and closer. This is a very, very hot topic when it comes to medicine and the traditional ways of the medical and healthcare industry. Another story that surfaced in: top senator Republicans, they're pushing for a drug bill, but they're having mixed support, and it's mainly dividing the GOP. When you get into a discussion about healthcare in America or how people are treating or being treated, I think it's there's a lot of losers and there's a lot of winners when it comes to the healthcare debate. But what will be the deciding factor on if changes are made in the United States healthcare system, or if there will be improvements or fixtures, is the fact that are there more winners or are there more losers? So you'll probably hear media outlets and media analysts going out and finding out if the data is showing that there are more people losing and there are more people who can't afford not even just basic health care, but if something major happens and they have to get major surgery. So this story is actually, and then you have to look at how people's lives have been changed if they have had surgeries. So like I said, story number 3 has some substance. 6 cancer patients developed rare blood infection after a nurse tampered with opioids. So you look at nurses and doctors, the relationship that they've been able to, the advancement of the field over the years, and how these doctors are shipped in, shipped out to have certain surgeries, how they're paid, and how they're able to not only just just take care of people, but take care of themselves, and how many years they have to spend in medical school. So story number three is an interesting story because doctors constantly have other people's lives in their hands. Another story that surfaced in: around 2 million worth of cocaine washes up on a New Zealand beach. Very, that's amazing how you can have 2 million worth of cocaine just, and it is probably came from some shipping or some illegal shipment, who knows, but it just lets you know how valuable these plants are, that can decrease pain, and they're used in medical treatments. The medic drugs have changed everything. It's changed how people interact. It's changed how people treat each other, and it's also changed the market. It's changed the business strategy over the. It's changed the United States in a big way, because the illegal drug market has destroyed a lot of communities, and it's bad because it's actually seeped into the legal market as well. UK also seizes nearly 2 million worth of heroin, one of the largest busts ever. So story number three, when it comes to the medical industry and people reliant on drugs, people having to take drugs for the rest of their lives, mental patients, people who have been scarred. I don't see story number three losing any traction because of that simple reality that drugs are involved in a lot of people's day-to-day life. You're in the Mediator with me, Brian West, where it's my supreme duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories. As a child, I was raised up to the sun by the prophets. They told me, they foretold that I would be great in this life. I would do something great with my time, and that would be give you your daily dose of vitamin news. If you want to be a contributor of this program or any other programs that we do at Method 8 for the greater good of the public, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. Constantly reminding my audience that I am just a mediator. The news outlets, journalists, people who are on the front lines deserve all the credit. I just navigate the news just for you, giving you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories. So if you yourself want to be a contributor, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.